There we go. Hi everyone, thank you very much for having me here today. Really excited to share a little bit about the work of the Scottish SPCA and a little bit about what we do. So hopefully you can all see my screen. So we are the Scottish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. We have been helping animals in Scotland for over 180 years. We were actually founded in 1839 by a lovely lady called Martha Gibson. She was really concerned about the horses that they used in the docks down in Edinburgh, and she created the Scottish SPCA basically to look out for their welfare. So the team would be there to make sure the owners of these horses were caring for them properly, they were getting the correct treatment, and that they weren't being overworked at the docks there. I am going to show you hopefully a little video which will explain a little bit more about who we are and what we do.
At the Scottish SPCA, we're much more impressive than you might think. We turned 180 years old in 2019. We've been championing animal welfare in Scotland since 1839. That's before there were cars on our roads and phones in our pockets. Some people get us confused with the RSPCA, who help animals only in England and Wales. Did you know that the Scottish SPCA is a completely separate organisation and is the only charity in Scotland that cares for all animals, domestic, wildlife and farm animals, as well as rescuing, caring for, rehoming and rehabilitating 10,000 wild and domestic animals each year. Our animal helpline receives over 200,000 calls, and our animal rescue officers and inspectors respond to 90,000 incidents. That includes a crocodile in a bath, dramatic cliffside rescues, and responding to the worst environmental disaster in Scotland's history, an oil spill off the coast of Shetland. We're also busy championing animal welfare and preventing cruelty. We're doing this through working with the Scottish Government to make sure that the law is the best it can be in protecting animals in Scotland, and educating anyone of any age in every community to encourage respect and kindness to all animals. We reach over 200,000 people every year through our free education programme, and we promote how important a relationship between a human and animal can be. We are unique when it comes to teaching about animal welfare, as we use robotics and mechanical animals to teach young people about the sentience of real ones. We are at the forefront of animal welfare research and expertise through groundbreaking work with partners such as the universities of Glasgow and Edinburgh. This research helps us ensure that the animals we take care of have the best environment possible, and ensures that our education workshops are going to make a difference. Behind the scenes, we are working harder than ever to bring those who abuse animals to justice. We investigate when animals have been abandoned, when they have been cruelly treated, and sometimes we have to investigate when animals are being used for animal fighting and being sold illegally, such as our Say No to Puppy Dealers campaign. We enrich the lives of animals and people, and understand that nurturing the human-animal bond is more important than breaking it, because that's our essence, to make a better world for animals and people. As Scotland's animal champions, we'll be there, always, but we need you to join us in being Scotland's animal champions through being our eyes and ears out there. Be kind to every animal that you meet. Give animals everything that they need to be healthy and happy. Look after the environment that we all live in, and tell us if an animal needs our help.
So that was just a really quick snapshot as to who the Scottish SPCA are, what we do, and the fact that we work throughout the whole of Scotland. That includes the Highlands and Islands, West Coast, Western Isles, throughout the whole of Scotland. I mentioned a little bit about Martha Gibson, who created the Scottish SPCA back in 1839. The first investigation was actually in 1840, when we were called to help the working donkeys and horses in Edinburgh, who were treated horrendously at the time. Since then, we have grown and grown and grown to help all different kinds of animals throughout the whole of Scotland. There we go. So there we go. A little snapshot into what we look like throughout the whole of Scotland. We do have our 9 rescue and rehoming centres based throughout Scotland, and we have one very, very special centre, our National Wildlife Rescue Centre. You can see there with a little hedgehog down in Clackmannanshire. So this is like an animal hospital. Any wild animal that we feel needs a little bit of extra care and attention that we can try and help to rehabilitate and release back into the wild will go to our National Wildlife Rescue Centre to get the very best specialist care and cared for before being released. We have our rescue officers, inspectors, education officers based throughout the whole of Scotland, and we have our central control as well, which is down in Dunfermline there too. So throughout the Scottish SPCA, we have got lots of different goals to rescue and reforce. Obviously, that includes our animal rescue officers and our inspectors, who deal a lot with our investigations and cruelty cases. We rehabilitate, rehome and release thousands of animals every single year, and we can only do that through the hard work of our animal care assistants within our centres. One of our main goals there is to educate and to prevent. So this is our education officers. We will visit lots of different communities to teach people about animal welfare, the fact that animals are sentient beings, and to educate people so they know what to do if they find an animal that needs our help. And of course, we wouldn't do that without our fundraising department as well. We are a charity. We receive no government funding at all. So everything that we do is based on the generosity of members of the public. And we're going to take a little look into some of the roles within the Scottish SPCA. Obviously, we have our animal helpline. They are there taking your calls between 7 AM in the morning and 10 PM at night. A lot of people think we are a 24 hours, 7 days a week service. We do work 7 days a week. That includes Christmas, but we are not 24 hours. So between 7 and 10 usually, and between 7:30 and 9 in the winter months when it's a bit chillier. I'm going to click on this one here. Hopefully this will have moved. So our animal rescue officers, these are the people that you would see out and about in the vans. Again, we cover the whole of Scotland. We all have slightly different areas that we cover, and they're the ones that are out on the road rescuing the animals. We never know what kind of animal we might have to save. One minute we could be dealing with a cat, the next minute we are dealing with a deer, a seal, foxes, cows, sheep, anything at all. We never know what kind of animal we might have to deal with. So you do have to have really good practical experience working with animals, and a variety of different animals as well, not just your domestic pets. We do like you to have a little bit of experience with regards to wildlife and a bit of knowledge around about the farming animals as well. Because we are out on the road, we are dealing with members of the public every single day. So previous customer focused environment skills would be really, really advantageous. You need to be a good communicator, have a good telephone manner, as well as excellent customer care and communication skills. A lot of what we do is quite technology based. So when an animal helpline operator receives a call, they will send a job out to us, and that is usually through an email on our work phones, and we have to be able to use a variety of different databases to log information and details there. We are really, really focused within the Scottish SPCA to try and expand people's knowledge and skills, so that the Scottish SPCA is really, really focused in helping people progress within their careers as well. I know a lot of people who have started off as maybe an animal rescue officer and moved on to become an inspector within the role. They offer a variety of different training and development courses, as well as lots and lots of help and assistance along the way. So moving on to our Inspectors. I like to describe our inspectors as a little bit like animal police officers. So if our animal rescue officers were ambulance drivers, these guys are the animal police, and it's their job to go around and investigate cruelty. So we've maybe had a report that someone has not been caring for their animals properly, they've been neglecting them, they've been harming them, or they have maybe abandoned them. It's our inspector's job to go and investigate that. They have got the powers in Scotland to actually take people to court, so we can report to the Procurator Fiscal and actually present a case to a court and take people to justice, really, that have been not very good to animals. They go through a detailed 6-month training programme, and you do have to pass assessments and things. So a lot of the work within the Scottish SPCA, you get on the job training, you have to shadow and show that you have gained the skills that you need to carry out your role, whereas inspectors, you do have to pass assessments as well, and they receive lots and lots of one-to-one mentoring and coaching from other inspectors, and they're basically the chief inspector, the boss as well, because there is lots and lots of legislation to learn when it comes to being an inspector. And moving on to our rescue and rehoming centres. So our animal rescue officers and our inspectors, they will tend to take the animals into the care of one of the Scottish SPCA's rehoming centres, where we've got a dedicated team of staff there ready and willing to care for as many animals as we can. A lot of our centres tend to be sort of smaller. We do have a few larger ones around about Glasgow, Dumbarton, Lanarkshire. They actually have in-house veterinary services. So again, we have got dedicated vets and vet nurses who will work within the Scottish SPCA, and they are there again 7 days a week to deal with any animals that need urgent care or urgent attention when they come into our care. Obviously, to be a veterinary surgeon or a veterinary nurse, you need to be registered with a professional body, so you would have to have the relevant qualifications before being able to work within the Scottish SPCA. A lot of our smaller centres, they tend to have partnerships with local vets and veterinary practices who will actually come out into the centres to see the animals on a weekly basis, and then we would also transport the animals to their practice for any treatment that they need. But again, excellent customer care and communication skills, a real commitment to animal welfare as well is really, really needed within that role. And our animal care assistants. This is where I started. My role within the Scottish SPCA started as an animal care assistant at the centre in Aberdeenshire, where we would care for the animals on a daily basis, look after them, provide them with enrichment, medication, feed them, exercise them, all these different things. I had a qualification within animal care. I studied HND at college and was very, very lucky to actually get a job within the Scottish SPCA quite soon afterwards. I had lots of experience dealing with working with horses, had some work experience in a veterinary practice, and yeah, just had a keen interest in animal welfare and animal care. There are lots of opportunities for animal care assistants to progress within the Scottish SPCA, such as moving to the veterinary side of things, moving to the animal rescue or the inspectorate roles as well, and other roles within the centre. I then moved on to education, and again, as we said, education, very, very important. Education officers tend to have dual roles, so they can be an education officer and also an animal rescue officer, so they kind of get the best of both worlds. But again, practical experience working with children and animals, and again, you're public facing, you're working with the general public, so having good communication skills is really, really important there. A lot of people can think it can be quite difficult to get involved within the Scottish SPCA, but a lot of people can help. They might not maybe want a career within the Scottish SPCA, but they might want to help in other areas as well. And this is where volunteering is really, really important. we can't do our work without our volunteers. We offer work experience, we offer placement to sort of school-age children as well, and you can come in and do a little bit of work experience and volunteering as well within our care.